You're listening to the Main Street Deal, part of Main Street Media. I'm Jordan. It's Monday, June 15th, 2026. Today we're walking through one real listing on the market right now. Today's listing is a residential and commercial HVAC company in Austin, Texas. 40 years in business. The asking price is $611,175, and the seller is reporting $260,000 annual cash flow of $211,154, $611,196. The source is a current biz-buy-sell listing. Let me break this one down. Austin needs no introduction as a market. It's been one of the fastest growing metro areas in the country for over a decade. And when you have a 40-year-old HVAC company planted there, you've got something worth looking at carefully. HVAC in Texas is not seasonal the way it is in the Midwest or the Northeast. Air conditioning is essentially a year-round necessity in a market that regularly sees extended stretches above 100 degrees. The heating side is real too. Austin gets cold enough in January to keep that revenue stream alive. That's a genuine business tailwind that a lot of service trades don't have. 40 years also means this business has survived recessions, rate cycles, and the kind of competitive pressure that wipes out newer operators. That longevity is worth something, but we'll talk about what questions it raises too. Now let's get into the numbers. The multiple here is 2.65 times. Take the $175,000 asking price, divide it by $154,196 in seller's discretionary earnings, and that's where you land. For context, the Texas HVAC market shows a median earnings multiple of 2.95 times, with a range from 2.27 times on the low end to 4.11 times at the top. This listing sits below the median. That doesn't automatically make it a great deal. Price discovery is a process, not a formula, but it does mean the seller is not asking you to pay a premium for future growth that hasn't happened yet. Let me walk through the SBA 70 math, the way you'd actually structure this if you sat down with a lender today. Standard Main Street acquisition terms. 10% down, 9.3% interest rate, 10-year term. 10% of $6,175,000 is $67,500. That's your cash into the deal as a down payment. The financed amount is $607,500. At 9.3% over 10 years, your monthly payment comes out to approximately $7,800, which is $93,600 in annual debt service. Now subtract that from the stated SDE of $154,696, and your post-debt cash flow is roughly to $161,100 per year. That's about $13,400 a month in your pocket after the loan payment, before taxes, assuming the business performs as stated. On a $67,500 out-of-pocket investment, that's a strong cash-on-cash return if the numbers are real, and that's the work, finding out whether they are. Here are the 3 due diligence priorities I'd lock in before going further on this one. First, revenue concentration. A 40-year-old business has customer relationships built over decades, and that sounds like a positive. It usually is, but it also means some of those relationships are personal to the seller. You need a customer by customer, revenue breakdown, and you need to understand how much of the commercial side is relationship dependent. If three commercial accounts represent 40% of revenue and they're loyal to the seller rather than the company, that's a conversation to have before you write a check. Second, technician retention. HVAC labor is tight across the country right now, and that's especially true in a high cost of living market like Austin, where experienced techs have options. This business runs on the people doing the installs and repairs. Ask for employee tenure records, find out who the senior technicians are, how long they've been there, and whether they've been informed the business is for sale. A departing tech in a tight labor market can take months to replace and can cost you service capacity right when you're trying to get your arms around the business. Third, fleet and equipment condition. 40 years of operating history means some of the assets are newer and some are aging out. Ask for a full list of every vehicle in the fleet, year, mileage, and maintenance records. Then add up the deferred capital expenditure you're inheriting. If you're looking at 4 trucks averaging 175,000 miles, that's real money coming due in the next 2 or 3 years, and it should factor into what you're willing to pay. One flag I want to name directly. The listing reports $260,000 annual cash flow, not the most recent trailing 12 months. That word 260,000 is doing some work there, and you need to understand what it's averaging across. A business that earned $40,000 in 2023 and $180,000 in 2025 has in 260,000 around 260,000 that tells you almost nothing useful about what you're actually buying today. Ask for year-by-year SDE going back 5 years and understand the direction of that trend before you move forward. My call on this one, pursue, with the right questions answered first. 40 years in a growing Texas market, a below median multiple, and a post-debt cash flow that replaces or exceeds most W-2 incomes. That combination is worth getting into a conversation. But before anything else, the first question I'd put to the broker is this. Can you provide year-by-year sellers' discretionary earnings for the last 5 years? If that trend is flat or moving up, this listing goes to the top of the stack. If it's declining, there's a story behind that $260,000 you need to hear before you spend $1 on due diligence. That's it for Monday. Find all of Main Street Media's shows wherever you listen. Subscribe, leave a review, and I'll see you Thursday for an operator story.